Hi, this is Marsha Gomswiki of Caribbean Books Foundation. Today, we are doing our second installment of Conversations with Caribbean Editors. We are talking to Robert Gibson from Passionate Words Editing Services. Robert's topic is a passion for the right word. Today, Robert is with us, and I always think Robert is Passion Words Editing Service because you are the passion poet. As we start,
Hi, hello.
yes, tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Well, first is right. So everybody, hi everybody. My name is Robert Gibson, and I own Passionate Words. It's passionate, not passion. Passionate Words Editing Services, and it's fine. People call me Passion. That's my other moniker because I'm a spoken word artist. So the passion comes from my spoken word name. But anyway, um, and yes, I've been a writer and a lover of words from the tender age of 14 years old. Um, I wrote my first poem at 14 and fell in love with the word. I was in love with the words from way before then. So yeah, that's pretty much where I am. As was stated, passionate words. We edit. We are going to be talking today about the passion for the right word. We're going to be talking about the different types of editing because passionate words we do all three types of editing, which is proofreading, copy editing, and substantive editing or developmental editing. We also do book formatting or typesetting. So if you have your manuscript and you want it prepared for print or for putting it on Amazon, we do that as well. And we also set you up for Amazon. I will walk you through putting it on Amazon yourself. Now, people always ask me, are you my editor? Sorry, are you my publisher? And I have to tell them, no, you're self-publishing your book. You're publishing the book on your own. I am just assisting you on that because what it is, Passionate Words is not, basically, I don't want to get your royalty checks. I don't want to get your royalty checks, and then I have to do the hassle of trying to find you, separate your royalty checks from my royalty checks. I don't want to do all that. So I'm gonna help you to I'm gonna help you to self-publish on your own, and that's what we do. We can help you put the book on Amazon, and that's pretty much it. So that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, Robert. I know I have done work with you already, and I remember the book that was my first romance story. I'm a self-published author, and I remember one thing that sticks in my mind is that even though I researched romance and I really wrote the romance, and I think it was a book where it was the first action scene, and I remember
Mm,
you did the book, you edited the book, and then you said the action scene isn't as strong as the book, and that made I was like, oh, because even though I was doing romance, I was really into making sure the romance part of the romance, so I
mm,
really wasn't concentrating on the action scene. So then I actually went and I looked at wrestling and all kind of different things that I wouldn't look at to see how to write it realistic, not just to be like, so
yes.
so I think when I always remember that when you edited that book for me, that comment stood out because it didn't even occur to me, because I in my mind I wasn't writing an action story, but the
Right.
story had to always be realistic, the entire
Right.
story. I think that was one real benefit. So that's one positive for the service that you get. I know that the service that I get from you is a wholesome service, and anything you see, you want to improve your book.
Yes, exactly. And that is one of the that's a prime example actually of the first level or the top level substantive editing, right? Developmental editing. That's the top layer.
Mm.
Some people say it's like seeing your book from 50,000 meters up. You're literally looking down at your book, and you're not looking at that point at the you're not looking at that point at the words per se. You're not looking at the grammar. What you're looking at is um, the overall structure of the book. does does this scene match this scene? As you said, the action scene needed work. How did it go? How did it fit together? How did all these parts fit together cohesively in a for a non-fiction book, for example? I'd also be asking, like, who's the audience? Is it technically relevant to the audience? If it's a book that is, let's say you're dealing with something um, computer related, is your audience able to handle it from the level of definition, defining uh, computer technology terms and stuff like that? Or do you bring in them definitions? Do you define them on yourself? What's the level of person who's going to be reading the book? So that's the first level. And some people say that what you should do is hire a developmental editor before you write your book or while writing the book, rather than writing the book and then giving it to a developmental editor, because we would have to then say, well, this doesn't match that. What actually helped me, I wouldn't call her a developmental editor, but she actually was instrumental in developing my book. She was a beta reader for me. And what I did is every single chapter I gave her. And so I gave her the chapter, and she was able to tell me if the chapter linked with the other chapter, if this particular character is strong enough, or if the scenes and the story is veering away from the topic. So in a sense, that's what the developmental editor does, because the developmental editor actually will bring actually like a book review or a book summary, an executive summary of your document to you. And yeah, that's basically what they do. I actually have a copy of like a template of one that was developed for me by one of my associates, somebody who's working with me, Cindy Marshall, who works with me. She's into linguistics. She actually has a linguistics degree, and she helped me bring up a developmental template where you have a manuscript summary, recommendations for the book itself, a checklist of components for the book, where the book is broken down into 3 different parts: Act A, Act B, Act C, and if all of these parts work together, and there's so many different components that this is why it is actually one of the most expensive. It can be one of the most expensive aspects of editing, but I always say that editing is what's the word I'm looking for? As an editor, you can't even find words. That's sad. But editing is an investment. I always say editing is an investment. You should be investing in your work, and although you do have to balance finances, I always tell people don't cut corners when it comes to editing, because when it gets the place where the book is in the hand of the audience member, somebody reading your book for the first time, that is the first. They only have one time to make a good first impression.
That is true. That is true.
Right.
So
Right.
when we look at all these things that you that you offer, so you have, I know it's developmental editing, I know you do copy editing as well as proofreading as well. So you
right. So copy editing, right, exactly. Copy editing is not as, you're not looking at the big picture anymore. You're starting to look now line by line. You're starting to look now, let's say at a paragraph. There's a paragraph fit. Do you have run-on sentences? I have one of my repeat clients who says to me that I am anal about punctuation, and that's because I hate to see a badly written sentence, but I used to complain to her all the time about her run-on sentences, and she, being the cheeky person that she is, would always tell me, well, I will write it, you will fix it. But at the level of copy editing, you are looking at the subject and verb agreement. You're looking at the grammatical errors, the punctuation, right? Basically, those things that are more ground level. You're not looking so high now. You're looking now on the ground, and you're looking to make sure that everything is spelled correctly. But at the same time, if you're looking at your paragraphs, let's say you're instead of looking at the entire book now, you're looking paragraph by paragraph. So do the paragraphs fit one inside another? Does it flow? Does it flow? Are the words spelled correctly? Is there subject and verb agreement? That kind of thing, right? So when people say they want an editor, and even when they say that they want a proofreader, 9 times out of 10, what they're looking for is a copy editor, somebody to actually write or change or modify the copy, which is the words themselves, right? So that's the level where most people are when they say they want an editor. They want somebody to read through it and make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. And the copy editor is, and I tell people as a meticulous, that's something that I got to take breaks from. I sit down, I work 2 hours of staring at the screen. You got to get up and then take a break and go back again. It's meticulous, is tedious, but it is, once you do it, it's very satisfying to read from beginning to end and not see mistakes.
Yeah, that's true. And do you have a favorite genre that you like to edit, or?
Well, not really. I read anything. I am an erotic writer by profession. My personal books, the ones I've written, are erotic books, but I read anything. I read anything. I enjoy. One of the books that I have edited or co-edited is a memoir, and a memoir from somebody who was a like a general manager, the general manager of Cable and Wireless in Barbados. So and this book is thick. This book is like, he had 9, 10 parts, not 10 chapters, 10 parts, and each part had 10 chapters. So this is the book here. See how thick it is.
Yes.
This took a while to get through, but it was actually good. Mostly it was pretty good reading, to actually see how he started and where he came from, how he got into working at Cable and Wireless, and where he went to after that. I enjoy reading stories. So no, I don't have a particularly a favorite genre per se. But that being said, I am a lover of erotica. So I guess if I have to say there's a favorite, it would be erotica. But I read anything.
Okay, that's good. So you read anything and you edit anything. So that's one.
This is true. I tell people all the time that Passionate Words will edit your shopping list if you want me to edit it. I will edit your shopping list if you want me to edit it. I will edit anything I have done. And I mean, we talked about your book. I've done so that's fantasy romance, that's paranormal romance. I've done Christian devotionals. I'm in the process of doing cookbooks right now, which is a whole different thing. I'm moving into, well, the other aspect of what I do is moving away from the editing itself to the book formatting, typesetting, putting the book together, which is not particularly editing, but is one of the subjects and one of the things that we do here at Passionate Words. So I'm actually currently going through tutorial, some training to up my game in desktop publishing, so that I will be better equipped to put your book together. So what I've been doing before, it definitely doesn't work for the cookbooks. You definitely need professional desktop understanding to lay out these books. So I said, nope, I'm not using just Word anymore. I up in my game. So I bought Affinity Publisher, and I'm going through the tutorials, learning Affinity Publisher. I have InDesign and want to go and learn that as well. But ultimately, when I've done that, you will have even more services, better services at your disposal.
Okay, that's good. So you'll have to actually on your website, Caribbean Authors, you'll have to update your services. we may have we
I
may
will.
have an area for that as well.
Yes, yes, yes. I will. You know, I mean, and when you talk about editing, we talk about the last part of editing, which is the proofreading.
Yes.
And the proofreading is the like where copy editing, you're trying to make sure you have no errors. Honestly, we're human. So we can, you might mess up, you can still miss stuff. So you gotta go over again and check for any last minute errors. Again, you're looking for subject verb agreement, words that spell wrong. No, the thing about it, some people like to use Grammarly or um the spell check in the Word document, right? That has its place, but there are places that if you don't read yourself, the computer cannot tell you that this word is in the wrong place. Let me give you an example. I had a book that I did recently, one of my last couple of clients, and we went through it, and we went through it, and we thought we had caught everything. We released the book, and then a couple clients told her, well, there's still a couple errors in this book. I'm like, oh, I mean, I try to be meticulous, but again, I'm human. I went back and I checked, and I saw like 12 moths, as in M-O. I'm supposed to be saying 12 months, right? I said 12 moths, or the lady said 12 moths. So it was MOTHS. No, moth and month are two legitimate words. So the spell check is not going to catch up on that. The spell check is not, because moth is spelled correctly.
Yes.
Moth is spelled correctly. Month is spelled correctly, but it's not correct for that context. So you need somebody you need a human being somewhat to read through it again, a proofreader to read through it again, to catch an error like that, right? Whereas the spell check can't catch that. Grammarly can't catch that because the word is a correct word. And in the sentence itself, the sentence is grammatically correct, but the word is the wrong word because a letter was missing. So that's what a proofreader does.
Yeah, and that's a note for self-published authors as well. I look at that as well, because as you said, the sentence looks the computer is reading the sentence, and the computer would say the sentence is okay. Or sometimes even you spell the name one way and then you spell the person name another way, and the both ways are
Exactly.
correct words. But the thing is, you're referring to the person that's the wrong name, so the computer cannot pick that up.
Yes.
You need a human being to say, well,
No, it can't.
you call her Janet in the first paragraph, and she turned into Jessica. So a computer is not going to
Yeah,
pick up that.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Computer won't pick that up, but that will be at the level of probably developmental or the copy edit. Because if I'm going through on broad base, I'm looking at characters. I'm looking at the characters. So when I'm looking at this broad base, I said, but in chapter 10, she's Janet. By chapter 25, she named Jessica. Which one it is?
Mhm.
Fact checking. Checking your facts for especially for nonfiction books, but also in fictional material as well. When I'm writing, I'm my first book, or my first novel rather, Make It Rain, my first novel. I have been for years. I have not released the other books as yet, but I'm trying my best to actually finish these books.
Uh-huh.
But when I'm writing, um, the world is a complete world. So the only thing that has changed in the world is time. So fact checking, if you're writing a series, fact checking still exists because you have to have a continuity about if it's a series. What if she had read here in the first book, unless she went and got
Yes, unless
somewhere
you could explain it. Yes.
where exactly, unless you can explain it, she should have read here, and that's probably a poor example. But if you knew that she was an orphan in the first book, in the second book she can't be in a family with mother, father, daughter, all these different things because she was an orphan in the first book. Again, unless you can explain it. So these things, these plot holes, that's what editors fix. That's what editors find, and they let you know, and they work with you to fix those errors, so that when I pick up a book and I read it, I understand what's happening. Even with twists and turns, I understand what's happening from beginning to end.
Okay, that is so true. Because the one thing I'm an author that works with an outline, and sometimes just working on your outline it takes all day. You an outline is, and then you have to go back, and as you said, you have to make sure, and you have to count if they went the house is east, and sometimes you put in direction. So sometimes I just say, oh gosh, I'm just gonna leave everything out, because then you every single thing, and you sometimes you really need somebody to say, well, if the house is this way and the other house is that way, how is it they going up the hill or down the hill? Simple things,
Simple.
Simple little things could confuse the reader and say, but and have the reader wondering what they're talking about now. So I think an editor's job is a really, and has to see everything. An editor has to really go through it, and an editor is really a partner. A lot of
Yes.
people are afraid of having their work edited, but I
Mm-hmm.
think you need to really partner. Once you start publishing, even sometimes even before you submit work, you should if you can, you could let somebody read it over, because it's so
Yes.
competitive. It's so competitive these days that sometimes agents and publishers will say it's too much work to do on this book. So if you could
Mm-hmm.
get somebody to watch it first, and then when you submit it, it might actually be better for you, because a lot of
Exactly.
yeah, because I'm the regional advisor of the SCBW for Caribbean South, and a lot of times people say they get back stuff and they say it's because of grammatical errors. The reason why an agent doesn't take your work, they say they love the story, they love your work, but it had too many errors in it. So a lot of time, long ago you might be thinking the agent will fix that. The agent isn't has so many things coming at it. The agent isn't willing to fix that because they have better options. So even before you submit, because you
Exactly.
traditionally submit, I would say, if you once you can afford it, just get somebody to do like as you were saying before, you have like a manuscript review that you do, to just talk you through it, so that by the time you
Mm-hmm.
send in that submission, you're sending in the best submission. So that is also an editing area
Right.
that people don't do that.
I agree. One of the things that I say, or one of my slogans for Passionate Words, is that Passionate Words polishes your prose, right? And I use that polish your prose. I use that from the perspective of, you think about a dapper gentleman dressed from head down to tuxedo, look real good, but then his shoes are not polished. Editing is the shoe polish. Editing brings everything together. Editing brings everything together. I actually said today and posted yesterday on my page at Passionate Words on Instagram, passionate.words.editing on Instagram, that editing is an essential service. Now, everybody's talking about essential services, essential workers. You got the essential workers because of COVID, etc. But if you look at what you're doing in terms of you want to put your best foot forward, an editor is essential service. You cannot scrimp on the editor. If you have to, talk to the editor about payment plans, do that, because the editing, though it may seem expensive in the short run, is minuscule. The cost of that is minuscule compared to loss of reputation, loss of, if it's a big document, a big something that you pushing your company,
Yeah.
for example, and it's not written well. The first thing people are gonna say is, "Man, but this person can't write," and then you damage your company brand irreparably sometimes. So I mean, I tell people all the time, don't think about that initial cost as prohibitive. If you have to work with your editor and ask for payment plans or what have you, do it, because it is extremely important for you to have your best foot forward, to have your shoes shined, to have your words shine. Because when your words shine, that means that your audience can see you in the reflection. That's my job. My job is to not is to not put my voice there, but to sharpen your voice so that people hear you. And that's what editors do.
That is so true. Editing is one of our most important features in writing, and I hope after this talk today, a lot of people would pay more attention to editing, and they would get their work edited, and they would see it more as a priority.
Yes.
Any closing words, Robert? Anything else you want to talk about today?
I would just say, like I said, um, even in the case, the fact that COVID-19 has affected us all, I'll tell you for sure that COVID-19 is what took my business to the next level, because I actually decided last year when COVID started to push my editing harder. And that's why I'm here today. COVID should not stop you from getting stuff done. You're home. Um, you may, in some instances, might not be doing much and stuff. Yes, you have to eat, you have to find your money to do stuff. But it is a time for you to sit, to rest, but also for to let those creative juices flow. And so when you are at that level of you've written and you want to go that step further, um, editors don't stop. Words don't go on quarantine. Find me, find another editor close to you, get your book done, get your book out, because it is important. We are an essential service, and we want to big up, I do want to big up all the essential workers listening to us. You are so well, we're grateful for everything you're doing, putting yourself out there, protecting all of us in this COVID environment. But I just want to say thank you for having me on board and having me in this interview, knowing that I really enjoy it. And I'm always here. You can find me passionate.words.editing on Instagram. I spend most of my time on Instagram, but you can also find the page Passionate Words Editing on Facebook. And stay tuned. I just started Pinterest. I have to figure out how to use it, but I just started Pinterest. So Passionate Words is going to be on Pinterest. And I'm also Robert Gibson on LinkedIn as well. Robert Gibson, Passionate Words Editing on LinkedIn as well. So you can find me anywhere. If you're interested in contacting me about anything, you can speak to me, passionatewordsediting@gmail.com. If you want to WhatsApp me, it's 246-234-5669. You can always WhatsApp me from anywhere in the world, anywhere in the Caribbean. But for sure, email works. So passionatewordsediting@gmail.com, passionate.wordsediting on Instagram. Basically, Passionate Words Editing anywhere.
Yes. Okay. From Passionate Words Editing Services. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Robert. What I know when we're running the live, and what we'll do is we'll take if anyone have questions, we can stay back and we'll look at the questions and we'll answer them like on the feed itself. So if anybody has questions, they can post it and we just answer it in the comments.
No problem.
Yes. Thank you so much for talking to us today. And
yes.
I'm sure we'll do this again. Keep working. I know you do wonderful work. I'm a testament to the wonderful work that you do, and keep up the good work.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, this has been Caribbean Books Foundation Conversation with Editors. Thank you so much for watching.